Theresa Coates Ellis joins us from the Manassas City. She's on the Manassas City Council, and she's also one of the organizers of the city's annual Bee Festival, which is this weekend. Theresa, thanks for coming on and talking with us about the upcoming festival. It sounds like a lot of fun. What's going to be happening this weekend?
On the festival, Manassas Bee Festival, it's the fourth year. It's an annual festival celebrated during Pollinator Week. Um, we are going to have it this year again at Liberia House and Grounds, which is over on Portner Avenue. It's a historic home, which will be open for tours. I don't know if they're probably self-guided tours, but it's pretty easy to, navigate. Um,
And when people and you say bee festival, I mean, for someone who's not familiar with it, someone who's never been, will there just be, bees flying everywhere, buzzing around, getting into people's, hair and soda cans, or is that the image that one thinks of, or will it be much different than that for someone who's never attended?
no, it will not be like that. Maybe butterflies.
There you go. I
We
like
have,
that. Yeah.
yeah, because we have a native garden that we planted with our local gardeners, and so there are lots of pollinating plants in there. So we have an apiary at Liberia House and Ground that was opened 4 years ago. So it's beehives. We have a couple there that we have pulled honey from that will be, we still have some left that will be available. We did pre-orders this year. There'll also be two other honey vendors there. So there should be plenty of local honey this year. We did run out last year, but I think we're going to be good this year. So yeah, so the apiary, it's a working apiary managed by the Prince William Regional Beekeepers Association. So there's a group of beekeepers, including George Ellis and who's my husband. We both support that and do a lot of work. I'm a beekeeper by hobby, but George is definitely leading that all that work there.
And then
So
and then and then and then a lot of people don't associate the city of Manassas with bees, but it is one of the places that is great for pollinators, and the city has been recognized as a place that is bee friendly. So talk about why Manassas hosts this
Mhm.
festival and why Manassas is friendly to bees.
So in 2019, this is how that all came about. I'm a master gardener from a long time ago. I was trained, and we got into beekeeping before the pandemic in 2019. And we wanted to recognize the efforts because we do have a lot of gardeners and naturalists and beekeepers in the area. So we did some research. George and I did research and found a Bee City USA designation that was credible. And they did not have any cities in Northern Virginia that were Bee City USA. So there is a town, I think Vienna is a town that was a Bee City USA. Washington, D.C. that was the closest. So we went to the council and the city staff, and I did that part to find out how we could become that. And there was a lot of criteria. It wasn't just like sign here. We had to do resolution. The council had a vote on it. And it was unanimous. We had to have uh, ordinances for beekeepers so that if they wanted to set up in their yard, they'd have the regulations for safety. And then we also worked with our arborist to make sure that we were planting native plants as often as we could in our common area or our public area. And then to keep the designation, we had to continue awareness. The whole thing is saving pollinators and planting native. That's like their whole goal. The Bee City USA is to get that awareness out.
So native plants that are indigenous to this part of the country in Virginia,
Right.
that encourages more bees the current ones that are here to stick around, and I assume more to come.
Yeah, and that's for all pollinators, not just bees. The pollinators, the list is pretty long, like beetles and flies and butterflies and bats in certain parts of the country are pollinators. Even small mammals can be labeled pollinators if you really want to look at it closely. Anything that's moving, pollen around. birds. Hummingbirds are good pollinators. So, plants that attract them, as well as our growing food source. And that's the main thing. We want to keep our growing food source healthy so that we have food. So without pollinators, we are not going to have growing food unless it's in a lab somewhere.
When
So
someone comes to this festival this weekend, what should they expect to find?
we have vendors that are selling items we try to tell them to keep in the theme of saving the pollinators and native plants. So you have a lot of craftspeople, you have gardeners coming to sell native plants, you have people selling food. We are having a beer, mead, and spirits garden. KO Distilling's coming, as well as Heritage Brewery and Misty Meadows Meadery. They all were there last year. So we're also going to have a big wellness component again this year because Liberia is such a beautiful park, has a lot of nice trees that are lots of shade and green space. So we'll have like yoga on the lawn, as well as soothing sounds. We're going to be bringing in a gong again, Gong, for music, a percussion instrument, as well as a drum circle. People are encouraged to bring their own sound instruments, whether it's, a guitar or a bowl. There's all kinds of things that make noises, little bells, whatever.
Mhm,
So the
mhm.
back, it sounds a little, hippy dippy, but it's so much fun. Like the backyard stage that was built last year, it will be the wellness sound stage. And then the main stage is going to be a young DJ that's coming. She's 13, I think now. She's called the Notorious STR, and she called up and heard their parents and said, "I really want to come to this." And so she's going to start out the festival early, and then we have a bluegrass band coming,
Good.
and the
Sounds like you've
name,
got a lot of activities planned for the weekend,
yes, yes.
and good for you for spelling out the musical instrument. For and you said it was a little hippy dippy, but of course it was a Gong. So you're good to.
Gong.
That's right. You're good to spell that out for us, so we know
Yes.
not to mess that one up. Finally, can you talk to us about how this festival has grown over the years? I remember talking to you years ago when you
Hmm.
first started doing this, and I had never heard of a bee festival before, here you are in your 4th year now. Talk about how this whole thing has grown and be molded into what it's become today.
Um, yeah, there were no bee festivals in the area. So that's why we found it interesting just to stick with that theme because it was a Bee City USA. And at the time, we did not expect it to be that popular. We thought, oh, it's going to attract, maybe a couple hundred people our first year. And we ran out of food, we ran out of beer. It was crazy because we had probably 2,000 the first year. We didn't have like a very organized music. We just asked a couple people to come and strum on their acoustic guitar, which made it really organic, to be honest. So it really just took off. I went into I have a marketing background. So I really focused the next year on getting the word out and kind of blew it out of the water, tapping into a lot of groups that are just interested in, gardening, um, and bees. Bees were they were suffering at that time. Actually, there's a surge now for the honeybees are doing much better because of the interest. And that's like, in the world, people like have really taken an interest in the honeybees. But the native bees, which are very important, they're having some struggles. So if they don't have natural places to live, like in the ground or leaves and things like that, or if there's the pesticides or they're overdoing the pesticides, that will just kill everything. So I think I might have told you the story one year. We had a hive in a yard, and the guy forgot to cancel his annual spring spraying of his grass. And
Yes.
do you remember that? Did I tell you that story?
Yeah, well, but go ahead, continue.
And like the hive, every bee died. It was like 60,000 bees died because they sprayed the lawn. And that was so significant. That was such an interesting case study. I'm like, look at that. Like they didn't directly spray the hive, but they sprayed the grass and it killed every bee.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were poisoned. So that's
unbelievable.
how, and that's a contained beehive. All the pollinators that are out there floating around in that yard died too.
Mhm.
So, um,
Just one small thing affects so many different things,
yeah,
and of
and
course,
and yeah, and I'm
you
not
know,
saying banning pesticides. I'm not going to that radical. I'm saying be responsible with your, like be responsible. Think
yeah,
about where you have to spray.
yeah.
Sometimes there's very bad plants that have to go.
Yeah. Just
Um,
be aware, right? Be
be
responsible, be
aware.
aware of what you're using
Yeah.
in your yard, and be cognizant of the importance of
Yes.
pollinators and our food supply. And I don't know how many more times I can say bee for the bee
Mhm.
festival, but that is
Mhm.
coming up this Saturday, June
Mhm.
22nd, 2024 at Liberia House and Grounds. That is at 8601 Portner Avenue in the
Right.
city. Now,
Mhm.
what time now? I'm seeing two things here. The festival, and then you have a walk, 2K
Yeah.
honey hike. Is that still starting at 9:15 at Manassas Museum lawn?
Yeah. So the 2K honey hike is new this year, starting Manassas Museum lawn, 9:15. It's just a walk, encouraging people to park in the garage downtown and walk to the festival. It's only, a little over a mile. It's going to be hot this year, but we're going to have a water station at Annenberg. There's a wall that was just built where the old tower used to be years ago. So we're going to have some refilling stations. We're encouraging people to bring their own water bottles and they can refill there. We do have a couple hundred people interested, but I did tell people just join us. You don't have to sign up, just come.
Right.
So they'll walk up there and we're having the shuttle, tractor wagon shuttle going all day. There's a couple of them. If people want to join that on the way up, if they get too hot or tired, they can jump on that. They can get a ride back at the end of the day.
No, so they'll
We're
be shuttled back from the Liberia House back to the
Yeah.
downtown parking
So
garage.
they can
Gotcha.
walk
So
or take the shuttle.
good, good,
It's
good.
we have that every year.
Okay.
We
So
encourage,
the
but
2K honey hike starts at 9:15 on the Manassas Museum lawn, and the
mm-hmm.
festival runs at 10 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at
Yeah,
Liberia House. There's only one more thing I can think of to say, and that is be there. Is
definitely
that
be
good enough?
there.
Be
There's an
there,
ed
right?
there is an education component to this. We will have speakers from the Prince William County Master Gardeners, then some naturalists. There's a trail, somebody from talking about the trails and trees. So that's all important stuff. That's also bringing the awareness, but I'm trying to
Good
think what
deal.
else. Oh, farm animals are coming again. That's always a big hit.
Is this like a
So
petting zoo, or people can come see the animals?
yeah, there's a farm that's not too far from here, and she'll bring whatever she can bring in, from ducks to pigs to horses to, goats. And we have a big fenced in area for them, and so the kids can, pet them, or whatever they want to do.
Theresa Coates Ellis sits on the Manassas City Council, and again, as an organizer of the Manassas Bee Festival. This is the fourth year for the festival, and thank you for coming on and
Hey,
talking to us about it.
thank you, Uriah.